All right. I'll move over my microphone so you guys can hear me. What's up, everybody? Welcome in Monday evening. It's time for Orioles Weekly. Hope you're all having a great start to your week. So I get everything going here and we'll get started. Good to have everybody in. Looks like already we have, who's in here already? I see Ariel's here. Ariel Barbosa, welcome in. Good to see Ariel. And I'm sure more people will be coming in just a little bit. But good to have everybody in here. It's Orioles Weekly. Orioles, of course, are off today. No game. Much needed break coming off their 6-game West Coast road trip, which we'll get into a little bit. But we got lots to talk about tonight. Some fun stuff, some interesting stuff to go over. Jeannie, welcome in, 52573. Thanks to all those who joined yesterday for the Orioles-A's game. You guys were amazing. We surpassed my like count goal for the day. We surpassed our goal for subs for the day. That's the first time we had ever hit both. We had over 40 people watching at some point yesterday. It was just a really nice time. It was really worked out nice. So thank you to all who came out for that. That was a lot of fun. And the Orioles got the win, so you can't beat that. Anyway, for those that don't know, Birdland Network, we talk all things Orioles baseball and Major League Baseball. Mondays are usually like we're doing right now with Orioles Weekly. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I try to get a video out if I can. Thursdays and Fridays, for sure, we have our Hall of Fame profiles. And, of course, Wednesday nights are usually Wednesday Game of the Week, where we live stream the Orioles. And from time to time, looking at my beard, I need to shave it or at least trim it. And from time to time, we'll do games other days of the week, like yesterday, how we did a Sunday game. But good to have you all here. Let's see who's here right now. Again, we got Ariel's here, Jeannie's here, Daniel Berry Sports is here, and Laura is here. So good to have all of you in here. Good to have everybody here. We're going to touch on several topics tonight. There's Pigtown Sports. Good to see you as well. Welcome in. Good to have you here. First topic I really want to talk about. How are you, Walt? Ariel, I'm good. And again, Ariel, I can't see you on my channel. I've got to be on my other profile to see you. I don't know why that is. But anyway, good to have you here. So, of course, Orioles coming off a big 6-game road trip out west. They went to Seattle, where they won 2 out of 3. They went to Oakland, where they won 2 out of 3. Pigtown Sports, good to have you here. If you don't mind telling me your first name, I'll be more than happy to call you by your first name instead of saying Pigtown Sports all the time. Like, my first name's Walt. So that way, a lot of times, if people come in, I'll be more than happy to say, hey, it's John from Pigtown Sports, or it's Rob, or, whatever. But if you don't totally get that too, don't you worry about it. Either way, we totally get it. So anyway, they go 4-2 on the road trip out west. Still a little upset with it's Zach. Okay, Zach, thank you. I'm glad. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me. That way, when you come in, I'll hopefully remember. I'm old, so I don't remember everything, but I'll do my best. But yeah, 4-2 on the road trip out west. I'm not happy with the way they had the one game against Oakland where they lost, 19-8. Just a terrible pitching performance all around. It started with Cade Povich, and it just went on from there with Dylan Tate and then Cole Irvin. It was just a nightmare of a game. And, I wouldn't have cared so much if it was against the Dodgers or the Yankees or Cleveland or something. But when it's against Oakland, who's one of the worst teams in baseball and has a bad offense, and you get shelled like that, that's a small red flag for me. That is worrisome. And but either way, they righted the ship on Sunday. They got the win 6-3 on Sunday, thanks to Grayson Rodriguez pitching really well. 6 innings, 3 runs, and they won 5-3. Welcome into, Brian's here as well, Nomadic Brian. Good to see Brian as well. So anyway, good series for the O's. And now they're coming into a big series starting tomorrow. They're off today, of course. They have a series against the Cubs, 3-game set against the Cubs. And then they finish out the first half before the All-Star break with the 3-game set against the reeling Yankees. That could be a big series for the O's. If they can really take care of business against the Yankees, at Baltimore, it's here. If they can take care of business and win at least 2 out of 3 against the Yankees in that series just before we go to the All-Star break, it's really going to give them a huge leg up down the stretch, because they won't see the Yankees again until the end of September, the end of the season. These 3 games coming up the end of this weekend, that's it until September when we go to New York at the end of the season. But if we can win 2 out of 3, we'll be in really good shape to win the series for the year, and that'll put the Yankees in a tough spot. They'll have to win the division outright. So big opportunity for the Orioles this week to really solidify their spot in the American League, and especially in the American League East. Zach says, gotta love the leadership to flush that game down the toilet and come out swinging in Game 3. I agree. And that's the one thing I will say is they do have, if anybody has ever watched Ted Lasso, they seem to be, they're a goldfish. They have the shortest memory, which is good because sometimes they need to have it, because they've done some very frustrating things at times, and it's like, I wish I was a goldfish because I don't have a short memory. I remember these things and they worry me. But anyway, we'll see. Sony 4K, welcome and good to see you as well. Zach says if they win 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, they win the season series in the tiebreaker. Exactly. That's exactly right. So it's a really big series, and the advantage really falls to the Orioles to go out there and play really, really well. There's my wife. There's Melissa. So anyway, gang, good to have you all here. First topic I want to talk on, of course, is the All-Star game coming up this starting Monday of next week. We got, I think Monday is the home run hitting contest. Tuesday is the actual All-Star game, and then Wednesday and Thursday there is no baseball, which is going to be depressing. So there's that. But for the Orioles, they have not 1, not 2, but 3 All-Star representatives this year. Of course, Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson were voted in by the fans. They will be starting the game, and that's fantastic. Good to see that. For Rutschman, it's his second All-Star game. He was a reserve last year, and this year he's a starter. And for Gunnar Henderson, it's his first All-Star game, and he's the starter at shortstop, which is awesome. And then lastly, of course, the no-doubter, Corbin Burnes is going to be one of the pitchers on the All-Star team in the American League. I don't think they've actually announced the starter yet for each league. So I think Burnes has a legitimate chance of actually starting the game for the American League. It's his 4th All-Star game in a row. The last 3, of course, he did with Milwaukee, and now he's in his 4th one with the Orioles. And all 3 well-deserved. All 3 of them are just having exceptionally fantastic seasons. Laura says, can the Orioles trade Cole Irvin? No, they can't. No. He has to have value, and right now he doesn't have any value. Zach says, so far, the home run derby contestants are solid. Hope Vlad gets in. It's Gunnar and Pete will be fun to watch. Oh, yeah, that's right. Pete Alonso, I think, is in it, too. Yeah, I didn't look at all the people that were in it. I might watch it. I'm not the biggest fan of the All-Star game and the home run hitting contest in any sport. I don't like the three-point shooting and the slam dunk contest in basketball. The Pro Bowl in football is just one of the worst things ever. Of all of them, actually, the All-Star game for baseball is probably the best out of all of them. It's probably the most legitimate. But even that, I'm not the biggest fan. I'll probably watch a little bit, only because the Orioles will have several people participating. And that's something I wanted to talk about. I think somebody made a good point. The Orioles only have 3 guys in this. They actually, with as good as they've been this year, probably should have had at least 2 or 3 more, which I'm going to get into in a minute. We're going to talk about All-Star snubs, and I'm going to kind of talk numbers on them too. But, I think for the longest time, for the last 5 seasons until 2023, last year, from 2017 to 2022, I think, the Orioles only had 1 All-Star representative, and that's only because they had to. Every team gets 1. You have to have 1. So we'll see. And I think that, moving forward for the foreseeable future, and when I say foreseeable future, I'm talking the next 5 to 10 years, unless something drastically negative happens, the Orioles are going to have multiple all-stars moving forward for the next 5 to 10 seasons. And when I say all-stars, I'm talking 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that are going to be making this team because they're just that stacked right now. But let's talk about this year, and we'll talk about some of these guys who didn't get in and who maybe should have gotten in. Well, I'll give you the ones I think, and I think everybody's going to agree with mine. Mine aren't anything earth-shattering. I think everybody kind of agrees. And I'll go over some numbers with you here in a minute. Baseball does a good job of keeping the Derby fun. It does. They've found ways to make it different rules, different ways to make it fun. I agree, Zach. Walt, did you see what Mark Viviano said, the news anchor up here in Channel 13? Well, he's retiring. I saw he's retiring. Vic Carter's retiring too. I saw that. He said the O's have never won a single playoff game in any year they've sent 4 or more All-Stars to the All-Star game. Huh. I didn't know that. Okay. That's interesting. Number 2 team in Major League Baseball power rankings and only 3 picks to the All-Star game doesn't compute. I agree, Brian. I agree. And here's my numbers for me. First off, there's 2 guys. I put 3 fingers up, but I meant 2. 2 guys, in my opinion, that I thought should have made the All-Star game. First off, and I said this from the beginning of the season, and I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. Craig Kimbrell should have been an All-Star. Sorry, just should have been. He's an All-Star to me. Just look at the numbers. He's 5-2. He's got a 2.10 ERA, 23 saves, which is second in the American League. In 34 1/3 innings, he's got 52 strikeouts, a 0.90 WHIP, and 1 run given up in his last 20 to 21 innings. Craig Kimbrell has really been... He had that 1-2 week stretch where he had the blip in the road. And other than that, the guy's been phenomenal. I mean, just look at his... These are his numbers. Look at his splits. Look at his percentile rankings around baseball for a pitcher. Everything is way above... most things are way above average. His pitching run value, his fastball run value... breaking ball run value, all off the charts. High, really high. As you can see right here. Right there. Right. I can't do it right there. His ERA, his his batting average, fastball velocity is above average. Exit velocity, when they do hit him hard. So that's not great. But look at his whiff rate, look at his whiff percentage, look at his K percentage. His K percentage is in the 99th percentile. It's fantastic. And that's exactly what you want out of a closer. Even though this guy's 35 years old, his whiff rate, he's phenomenal. He misses bats. And that's exactly what they want. He walks some guys, as you can see. And, he lets, and like we said with the exit velocity, when they do hit him, they do barrel him up. His hard hit rate. So when they do hit him hard. But I'm sorry. I think Craig Kimbrell has done everything we've asked him to do for a guy that ultimately will probably only be here 1 season. Now, there is a club option for next year, and maybe they exercise that option. But imagine if the Orioles can have Yennier Cano, Jose Bautista, and Craig Kimbrell in the 7, 8, and 9. Wow. That would be phenomenal. It would be, could you imagine? Or if you put Kimbrell in the I doubt it because he's a Hall of Famer, but could you imagine? Oh my God, it could be phenomenal. Zach says, the fact the commissioner's office voted in Clay Holmes is wild. Why did they even have a vote? I agree. I don't understand it either. I think the New York vote played a part in this, but when you look at the numbers right there alone, just the stats I gave you, and then when you look at the percentiles, I don't know, I can't do it. When you look at the percentiles over here, Craig Kimbrell has done everything he needed to do to be on this team. Second most saves in the American League. I think third or fourth most in all of baseball. He's been phenomenal after that one small little blip that he had. And the guy he got no love. And I think that's very upsetting. So that's the first guy. And then the other guy, and I think people will agree with me here, it's not Ryan Mountcastle. I'm sorry, I don't think it's Anthony Santander. I think he's not had a very good season. He's hit some home runs, but look at his average and look at his on-base percentage and his OPS. I'm not happy with the season that Santander has had. I'm really not. Even though he had that great June where he was phenomenal, even with that great June, he's still only hitting like 230, if that. But the other guy I thought really should have had consideration, was Jordan Westburg. Jordan Westburg in 345 plate appearances this year. He's got 45 runs scored, 90 hits, 14 home runs, 6 steals, a 281 batting average, a 506 slugging, an 834 OPS. And all this he's been doing while he's been shuffling back and forth from second and third base. And I think that the guy, I think he should have been on the team. We'll go over his numbers too. This is Westburg. Look at his numbers. Look at his percentile rankings. I'll make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it a little bit more. But look at his percentiles. Everything. I mean, he's just, all of his numbers are up in the 80, 90 percentile. His bat speed is a little bit slow, but when he does get hits, he barrels them up. He chases some. He does have some whiffs in there. And his strikeout percentage could be a little bit lower. He needs to walk more, but I think everybody on the Orioles needs to walk. But when you look at his sprint speed, I actually think his fielding is better than they're giving him credit for. His arm strength, I think he's very good defensively. This guy is an above-average player who has had a phenomenal season for the Orioles. And I think if he had just played third base, or if he just played second base, if they just said you're playing one, like they did Gunnar, and just said, you don't have to worry about flipping back and forth, we're going to put you in one spot, his numbers might even be better. So I think that Jordan Westburg should have been given a lot of consideration to making this team this year. And I feel bad. I think he should have been on the team. I really do. He should have been a reserve. And maybe he will, because we're not there yet. And sometimes guys will drop out. They'll say, no, thank you, but I'm not going to go. Or I want to take the time off, or there's an injury. So there's still a possibility that he could make the team. But I don't see it happening, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Guys, thanks everybody for being here. Wow, we got 13 of you watching. That's amazing. Thanks everybody. And we got 12 likes. That's really nice. Thanks. Thanks, gang. So anyway, that's my snubs. That's the two guys that I thought should have made the team. Mountcastle had a good start to the season, but he's kind of tailed off a little bit now. He was hitting right around 300 for the longest time, and then his numbers have really tailed off. He's no longer the power threat that we thought he was, and you can blame it on the wall at Camden Yards. But I think if Mountie gets to 20 home runs this year, I think he'll be lucky. What's he got right now? 12, 13? I don't even think he'll hit 20 home runs this season. His power numbers have just continued to drop, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. Permanently temporary. Welcome in. Guardians have 5 All-Stars to our 3. Easy way to fix. Fry out. Westburg in. Westy is better by my measure. Anyway, and not to mention he's a good fielder. Just a joke. Fry got in. Well, that's the thing. And then there was a ton of Dodgers in the National League, too. It was like 6 or 7 Dodgers got in. But anyway, I agree. I think Westburg should have been on the team, and I don't understand how he didn't get in, but he didn't. Either way, he didn't at this point. And kind of a bummer. I would have liked to have seen him make the team. So, yep, those are the numbers I wanted to show you guys. Kind of back up what I thought were really good ways of showing how well both Kimbrel and Westburg have played this year. Especially Westburg, because I always hear from people all the time, oh, here he comes. He's terrible. We got to get rid of him. He's actually been really good this year. Like, really good. Because if you compare him to Bautista's season last year, I think that's an unfair comparison. Because what Bautista did last year, Bautista won the Rolaids Relief Award last year as the best reliever. And he actually got some Cy Young votes, too. He was, almost historic with what he did last year. And he throws over 100 miles an hour. Kimbrel's not that guy anymore at 35, and yet he's putting up stellar numbers. And I think we should be very happy with what he's done. Now, I get it. I know he's had some postseason hiccups, and God willing, he doesn't have that with us this year. But we're going to find out because most playoff games are close. So he's going to get into these games. Paul Engel, what's up, my man? Paul, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing good. So, we talked about the Orioles All-Stars. We talked about the All-Stars that I thought should have been in. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about Coby Mayo. So with the All-Star break next week, when they come back from the All-Star break, the Orioles will head to Texas for a 3-game set. I think it's a 3-game set. It might even be a 4-game set. If somebody in the chat wants to let me know, please do. I think we need to start thinking about the possibility of the next call-up for the Orioles. And I think that guy, I really don't see what they... I know why they're waiting, but I really think that Coby Mayo has to be called up in the second half. This is a guy, and we're going to go over numbers here in a little bit. This is a guy that really doesn't have anything else left to prove in the minor leagues. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, I get it, but where are you going to put him? Okay, fair. But you got to find a way. You just do. I'm sorry. You got to find a way. This kid is mashing at the AAA level, and there's just no need for him to be down there. Look at Heston Kjerstad, who they now have brought back up and are giving him regular at-bats, and you're seeing now what he can do. Look at the home run that Kjerstad had yesterday on the ball down and away. He gets under it, hits it 420 feet to dead center field. The raw power of Kjerstad is amazing. Coby Mayo has the exact same raw power, maybe even more. This guy is a monster mash hitter. He is going to be a 40 home run guy in the major leagues. Mark my words. I said it about Gunnar. I'm still sticking to it. I said it about Kjerstad. I'm sticking to it, and I'm saying it about Mayo. The Orioles could have the next Bash Brothers. I'm telling you, they really could. But this guy's got to come up, and I think it's got to be early in the second half. I actually would not be surprised if he is called up for that first series in Texas. I think he should be. And I want to hear from you in the chat. Let me know. Should he be called up? And what is your corresponding move, though? Because if you call him up, then that means somebody else has got to be taken off. Paul says, doing well. Thanks, Walt. Hope all is well with you and Melissa. Yeah, we're good. Thanks for asking, bud. So let's talk a little Coby Mayo. AAA this year. Now, remember, he's missed time because he had a cracked rib. He missed like 5 weeks due to a broken rib. So with 269 plate appearances this year, 44 runs scored, 71 hits, 18 home runs, 3 steals, 15 doubles, 2 triples, 54 RBIs, 29 walks, 66 strikeouts, a 301 batting average, a 610 slugging, and a 993 OPS. This guy is a straight masher with immense power. And not only that, he can move around. He can play third. He can play some first. He can play the corner outfield if necessary. Or DH. Now, I get it. We've already got Kjerstad in that role as well. And maybe the Orioles do. Look, I'm going to say it. Yes. Maybe the Orioles do suffer defensively a little bit if you have both Kjerstad and Coby Mayo on this team. Okay? Maybe they do suffer a little bit. But it's a give and take because here's how I see it. Okay? Because defense plays. I get it. Defense plays. That's why Ramon Arias is on this team. And it's probably why Jorge Mateo is on this team. Because neither one have really done anything offensively, in my humble opinion. But they're good defensively, and I think it helps to keep them on this team. And it's a big issue for the Orioles. They want that. But I'm sorry. You have immense, franchise-changing power in this guy, in Coby Mayo, that's going to be could be, if things continue to develop and progress, could be a superstar masher of a hitter that can hit 40 home runs, 30 to 40 home runs annually. In your lineup, that's probably going to hit anywhere from 250 to 275 and hit you 30 to 40 jacks. I just don't understand. You have to find a way to get this kid at bats. Just my opinion. Brian says, Mayo was my pick to start with the O's. He has been making his case. Time for a tryout. I agree. I just think that at some point he's got to be given a shot. Joe says, whether they bring him up and he's off like Holiday, is that the risk? Well, but that's a risk you... Look, I think Holiday needs to be back up at this point. I think he's gotten enough at-bats. He doesn't have to hit 400 in the minor leagues to come up to the major leagues. I think he went back down. He's done what he's needed to do. And I actually am shocked that people are now all of a sudden souring on Jackson Holiday, which is just absolutely pardon the expression, asinine. I'm sorry, it just is. I think he should be back up here. Let's see. Monarch Miracles. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Brian says, go Guardians. Guardians, best record in the American League right now. Brian says, Mayo has had more time at the minor leagues level than Jackson. This outcome might be different. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing, too. And the other thing that everybody has to remember, I'm getting off of Mayo for a second, about Jackson Holliday. He's still 20 years old. He's a kid. He's a kid fresh out of high school, goes straight from high school to the minor leagues. He jumps every single level in the minor leagues. He has major success. He gets called up to the major leagues, and he doesn't do well. Okay, it happens. Send him back down. Let him get a restart, which he's done. He's walking more. He's striking out less. He's getting his at-bats against lefties, and he's doing fine. I don't understand. John, what's up, John? AB, welcome in. So anyway, that's my take on Coby Mayo. I definitely 100%, 110% guarantee he will be on the Orioles this year. Absolutely he will. He will be an Oriole in the lineup at some point this season. I think it should be sooner rather than later, but that's just me. Let's see, Ryan says Guardians have Bo Naylor up in the majors hitting under 200. It's right. It's going to happen, okay? These guys are going to struggle. And this is a Guardians team that, again, has the best record in the American League right now. They're leading their division, and yet they're giving these guys an opportunity to right the ship and work through their struggles. And I think that's important. Look, I think the Orioles pulled the trigger too soon on Jackson Holliday. I think they should have given him more at-bats. They were still winning ball games. What is Mateo doing that much better than Jackson Holliday at second base? He's not. He's not doing that much better. But again, I get it. Jackson was hitting like 060, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest Mateo fan either. But he has pinch hit twice, and he's had 2 game-winning pinch hits. Yeah, right, Ryan. I mean, that's the key. These kids are going to fail. Look, everybody fails in the major leagues. You fail 7 out of 10 times, and you're still considered awesome. So it's going to happen. But Coby Mayo, I think, is the next guy that's going to get the big call up, and I think it's going to be soon. I think it's going to be early in the second half. It may not be that Texas series. Maybe it's right after that Texas series. Maybe it's one of our series when they come home. I personally don't think it should be a home series. I actually think that when they have these guys debut, they should have them debut on the road so there's less pressure and less fanfare on the road so that they can just get their feet wet, calm down, get the first at-bat out of the way, the first game out of the way. But home, with the home crowd and the big cheering, that's a lot of pressure on these guys. So I think it should be a road game. I really do. Where it really won't be that big of a fanfare. And I think that's important. Matt Monarch Miracle said everyone goes through a slump in a baseball season. Sometimes you have to let them pull out of it on their own. I agree, Matt. And I get it. Look, these teams are under big pressure, especially a team like the Orioles, because they're fighting for a division title. And you can't let games get away. I get it. But they're winning, and they're winning big, and they're actually doing better than I thought they were going to do. So, maybe they give them another shot. Maybe they give Coby Mayo that first shot, or maybe they give Jackson Holliday another shot, and they say, come on up. Let's try it. Let's see what we can do. But, I think both of them need to be back up in the major leagues this season. I don't see what they need to do down there. Joe says they are one of the best teams. Should they really change the lineup? Yes, I do think they should change the lineup, Joe. I really do. I think there are holes in that lineup. I do. I think there's holes in that lineup. Cowser has really cooled off. Now, he's a rookie. Technically, he's a rookie, and I get it. It's going to happen. But Ramon Arias, Jorge Mateo, Brian McCann, those guys offensively are liabilities. McCann behind the plate is good, and he's a good veteran, has good leadership in the clubhouse and all that. But Mateo and Arias, to me, they're liabilities at the plate. Give these kids a chance. What are they going to do that's any different than them? Just my opinion. Again, just my opinion. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Coby Mayo. But I will say, for those that don't know and don't follow baseball that much, but we are now into July. And, of course, July is when we start to get those rumors about the trade deadline. Because the end of the month, there will be the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And they no longer have, it used to be in July 31st was the trade deadline. And then from August 1st to the end of the season, the only way you could make a trade is if a guy cleared waivers. And then, like, you would put a guy, like, let's say, for instance, you would put Ken Griffey Jr. on waivers. I know, it sounds ridiculous, right? But you would put him on waivers, and then what would happen is you were hoping that he would clear waivers, so that if he clears waivers, then you can trade him. Okay? But what would happen is teams, like let's say the Orioles wanted him, the Yankees would then, they would claim him off of waivers and block that trade with the Orioles. And by doing that then the Mariners or whoever he was with at the time would then pull him back and say, nope, you can't have him. Never mind, we pull him back. That no longer happens anymore. That after July 31st trade deadline stuff, that waiver period is no more. So after July 31st, you can't make trades. So it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. Somebody here is trying to send me a message. Let's see what this is about real fast. Hold on, guys. I don't know what that is. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I'm back. Sorry about that. So anyway, let's talk trades. Trade deadline's coming up. Everybody's talking about how the Orioles need starting pitching. Tend to agree with you there. 100% agree with the road game. Yeah, I just do. I think that they should start him on the road, for the road game. Definitely need to get it figured out if they're going to the postseason. Yeah, they'll figure it out. So anyway, let's talk trade. Everybody thinks the Orioles need another starting pitcher, and obviously they think they need help in the bullpen. I think that landing bullpen help will be the easier of the two, in my humble opinion. I think the Orioles can easily go out and find a bullpen arm somewhere and really not have to give up a ton to get him. Because it's a bullpen arm. I'm not giving up Jackson Holliday for a bullpen arm. I'm just not doing it. I'm not giving up Connor Norby or Coby Mayo or Sam, whoever. I'm not giving those guys up, not for a bullpen guy. I don't care who it is, even for Mason Miller. Because that's the thing. See, what's going to happen is Oakland's going to say, yes, Mason Miller is on the market. Big time arm bullpen guy who is a shutdown guy. He's having a great season. But they're going to want this, and this for him. The O's aren't going to do that. Even though they'll have team control with this kid, they're not going to do that for a reliever. It's just, you're not going to do that. But on the other end of it, for a starter, which the Orioles technically probably do need, they're going to need to give up something. And there's been a lot of rumors flying around that there's Garrett Crochet, the guy from the White Sox, or Fedde, I think is the other guy that the Orioles have been linked to. There's some other guys that could come into the market for the Orioles to look at as well. But right now, their big link right now across the baseball news wires is Garrett Crochet, the kid from the White Sox. And the thing about Crochet is this. He's not just a rental if the Orioles were to trade for him. I think whoever gets him has 2 more years of team control after this year. So you would get him for the rest of this year and 2 more years of team control. That's a lot different than getting a rental. Even a starting pitcher rental. Let's say you go out and you say to Texas, who's out of the race. Texas says, Max Scherzer's on the market. Max Scherzer. And you go, okay, we want Max Scherzer. He is a 2-month rental at best. You don't have to give up as much for a 2-month rental as you do for a guy that you have team control for another 2 seasons. And that's something the Orioles are going to have to take into account because the White Sox are going to ask for a lot. And I said this the other day, and I'll say it again. I have certain guys that I feel are untouchable for the Orioles. Jackson Holliday, Coby Mayo, those guys are untouchable to me. Okay? I feel Heston Kjerstad, they're untouchables. I can't trade them. Okay? But these guys are the guys that I feel could be part of a trade to bring back a big piece for the Orioles. I think the first guy, and we all know it, is our number 5 prospect, Connor Norby. Norby is blocked at every position. He's blocked at short with Gunnar. He's blocked at second with Jackson Holliday. And he's blocked at third with Jordan Westburg right now. He's probably blocked in the outfield with Heston Kjerstad. There's no real position for Connor Norby on this team right now, and I can't see him being a super utility guy in the major leagues. He is going to be a starter somewhere, and I think he is one guy that will probably be part of a deal that's going to bring back a starting pitcher. But a big starting pitcher. The Orioles aren't going to go and give up Connor Norby for 2 months of Max Scherzer. They're just not going to do that. So I think Connor Norby's name is going to come up a lot. Judd Fabian, the number 11 prospect for the Orioles. He's an outfielder. Again, the Orioles got a plethora of outfielders. He may be somebody that's packaged in a deal. Dylan Beavers, our number 6 prospect, which is a name I don't think anybody ever talks about, but here's a guy that's another outfielder, real good hitter, real good ball player who could be on the way to another team and could be packaged in a deal. Max Wagner is another one. Number 13 prospect. He could be in a deal. But I think the one guy for me, and everybody says this guy should be a hands-off, a no-brainer, untouchable. I don't think he is. And that's Samuel Basallo, the catcher. He's 19 years old, phenomenal bat, great arm, real good kid. But in just his little bit of time, I've seen injuries from this kid. Okay? He's been on the injured list a few times already. That's a worry to me. To me, that's a worry. It is. That's a worry to me. I don't want a guy who is going to be, I don't know if he's going to be injury prone or not. It worries me about whether or not this kid is going to be durable in the major leagues. And the problem is we really need him to be durable because we want him to be the backup to Adley. And maybe even be a 50-50 guy behind the plate where Adley catches half the games and Basallo catches the other half. Well, he can't catch if he's hurt and he's on the IL or he's sitting out because he's got a hamstring pull or this or that. We can't have that. And that's what worries me about Basallo. Plus, the Orioles have other catching prospects in their system that could be very good and very capable backups to Rutschman. Because Rutschman's number 1. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be the number 1 guy. So whoever comes into the role after James McCann is gone is going to be that backup. And I think Samuel Basallo could bring a really big pitcher back in return for him. And again, it could be a major fail for the Orioles. This kid could go out and he could become the next Pudge Rodriguez. And become a Hall of Famer. I don't know. But I think it might be a risk if you can get a really phenomenal pitcher and you can get this guy for team control for several seasons. I think it might be a move that the Orioles are going to consider. I want to hear from you in the chat. Let me know what you think. A lot of you out there are Orioles fans. Let me know. Yes on Basallo, maybe a possible trade. No, don't get rid of him. Victor, what's up, buddy? Welcome in. Never get the notification. Oh, I'm sorry, Victor. That happens a lot for some reason, but good to have you here, bud. Be sure to hit that like button. Thanks for being here. So that's the guys for me if I'm the Orioles. These are the 5 guys that I think the Orioles should be looking to possibly name drop on these teams. Connor Norby, Judd Fabian, Samuel Basallo, Dylan Beavers, Max Wagner. Those are the ones to me are ones that maybe their names are on the table for the right deal. We'll see what happens. As we get closer to the end of July, these rumors and these whispers are going to get louder and louder and louder. And then we're ultimately, I actually think it's going to not happen on July 31st. I think the Orioles are going to make a move before that. Might only be a day or two before, but I think they are. I think they're going to make a move. And they're going to get something back. I don't think it'll be anything hitting-wise. I think they're happy with what they have offensively. And they should be. They're one of the best offenses in baseball. Even though they're consistent, they still are a very dominant and powerful lineup. But I think pitching is where they'll focus the most. I think they'll get both. I think they'll get a reliever, and I think they'll get a starter. But let me know in the chat what you guys think. Yes, no, maybe Orioles are going to do something. Maybe the Orioles aren't going to do something. But we'll see what happens. Not a lot of games going on tonight. I think there's only like 5 or 6 games. While we're talking about, let's go over some of the scores from tonight's games. And I also want to remind you guys, don't forget, you can send us an email as well, CamdenQuestions@gmail.com. If you have any questions about the channel, or if you have any baseball questions you want to ask, anything, CamdenQuestions@gmail.com. If one of my mods could share that out, I would appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to heat up, Brian. Absolutely. It's going to heat up very, very soon. So around baseball right now, top of the 5th inning, the Tigers and Guardians are scoreless. End of the 2nd inning, the Rockies and the Reds are scoreless. Earlier today, the Pirates beat the Mets 8-2. Sorry, Victor. And the Cardinals beat the Nationals 6-0. Later on tonight, Twins, White Sox, Rangers, Angels, Braves, Diamondbacks. That's it. That's all the games that are going on in the major leagues tonight. A lot of teams are off. Yankees, I think we start a series with the Cubs starting tomorrow. I'm going to preview that in a minute. I think the Yankees are in Tampa. Yeah, they'll definitely get some help. They'll get some help. All right, so let's go talk Cubs previews. Cubs Orioles. So again, tomorrow night, the series for the Orioles is going to be the Cubs versus Orioles. And, of course, we'll kind of preview that series. We'll go over if they even have. I don't even know if the Orioles have announced who their starters are for the series against the Cubs. Dean Kramer is actually pitching tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Wednesday night, we have Corbin Burns. And I don't know if we actually have. Let's see who we pick. Who do we have listed for Thursday? And then Albert Suarez. So it's going to be Dean Kramer, Corbin Burns, Albert Suarez for the Orioles, and the Cubs have to be determined. So they haven't really set their rotation yet. Let's see here. I'm trying to read some of the comments. Thank you, Jeannie. I appreciate you doing that. If Elias can't pull off the deals, there are no good situations. Hopefully both, if not one. I agree. Well, Victor, you know what? It's better to win one, lose one than to lose 5 and lose 10 and lose 12. They're really not doing bad, dude. Okay, so Orioles, Cubs. Orioles right now, of course, we'll talk a little bit about each team and where we stand with them. Of course, the Orioles in their division are in first place in the American League East. They have second best record in the American League. They're at 57-33. They have been 7-3 over the last 10 games. The Cubs have actually been a real disappointment this season. They are in last place in the National League Central. They are 42-49, 7 games under 500, and they are 5-5 over their last 10 games. Well, excuse me, that burp is sponsored by D&G. This is a series that the Orioles easily should win 2 out of 3, possibly even win 3 out of 3. Now, it's hard to sweep teams. Don't get me wrong. It's very hard to sweep any team in baseball. But the Orioles got to come out of this with 2. They definitely got to win 2 out of 3, for sure. Against a Cubs team that's just reeling and just are not playing good baseball at all. And the Orioles got to find a way to get these wins. You've got Dean Kramer, who pitched excellent his last time out. And then you've got your ace Corbin Burns on the mound, and then Albert Suarez, who's been pretty good lately as well. They've got to find a way. I mean, the Cubs are a -24 in the run differential for the season, and they're just not playing well at all. They are 17-28 on the road this season, where the Orioles at home are 29-17. So, again, everything you would think lines up like the Orioles should do very well. But it's all about execution. It's all about how you play. And we saw that on Saturday night when the Orioles got shellacked by Oakland 19-8. So it can blow up in your face, but hopefully it won't. I don't use this very often, but I should use the chat a little bit more. I apologize for that. Look, see, like I can put Victor up there. But, yeah, so it's going to be a big series. And then to end the first half, the Orioles have the Yankees in town for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's going to be a huge series. The only problem with that series is Corbin Burns is not going to see the Yankees, unfortunately. He's going to see the Cubs, which is a bummer. He's not going to be part of the Yankees series. And But if I'm not mistaken, if he goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, he could be the starter on Tuesday for the All-Star game. He'd be on 6 days rest, but he could. He could start Tuesday. We'll see what he does. It should be pretty interesting. See what happens there. But anyway, yeah. So he won't be part of the Yankee series. It's going to be Cade Povich, Grayson Rodriguez, and losing one of my other stars. And I guess probably Dean Kramer probably will go Sunday. If Kramer goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, on 4 days rest, Sunday. Yeah. No, I wouldn't change it. You don't want to... No, I wouldn't change it, Victor, because you don't want Corbin Burnes to get out of his routine. Right now, everything is just... Everything's running everything is running perfectly on all cylinders for Corbin Burnes. You don't want to mess with anything. He's going to let him pitch his game against the Cubs. It is what it is. We don't need to line him up. This is not a do-or-die series against the Yankees. It's actually more of a do-or-die series for them than it is for us. I think it's a big pressure series for the Yankees this weekend against the Orioles. But no, I don't. I would like to have seen him pitch against the Yankees. I think it would have been better for us. But no, I think you keep him in the rotation. You keep him on his game plan, on the the program that he's got going. Just keep it level for him. Yeah, that's the one that worries me, Brian, because he's going to pitch the first game in the series. He's going to pitch probably Friday. And after the beating he took against Oakland, it kind of worries me with Povich because he's really up and down. He'll have really good outings, and then he'll have outings where he can't throw a strike to save his soul. And it kind of is what happened to him against Oakland. And he's had another start like that where he walks 5 batters, but he got very lucky because he got some big outs when he had to get big outs. I don't remember what start it was. So Povich is really going to have to be on his game. And it kind of worries me with this series against the Yankees because he's going to be the guy who's going to have to set the tone for the series against the Yankees. If he can come out and pitch a really good game, and the Orioles can get game 1 against the Yankees Friday night, and again, I know I'm already looking past the Cubs, and I don't mean to do that. You still got to beat the Cubs. But let's say they do well against the Cubs. If he can set the tone on Friday night and pitch really, really well, and the Orioles can get out of that game Friday with a win, wow, it just sets the tone for the rest of the weekend, and the Yankees are just that much more pressure to have to come out and win. And then we're at home. It could be a big series for the Orioles. It could be one that helps to put another nail in the coffin for the Yankees when it comes to the East. Even though it's only July, I get it. We've got all of August and we've got all of September. Anything could happen. It'd be a big step forward for the Orioles. Orioles will need Yeah, they're definitely going to need him. So, anyway, gang, there you go. That's our show for today. I appreciate all of you coming out. We started at 7. We're almost an hour in, but I don't want to go a whole hour. Sometimes we can, sometimes we won't. But, yeah, big series starting tomorrow night against the Cubs. We'll be back on Wednesday night to call the game. Hope you guys can join us for that. Melissa and I, over on our Disney channel, Mouse Talk, will be live tomorrow night with Dissanity at 8 o'clock. So we'll be talking Disney and our weekend at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Hey, Houday Nation, welcome in. Thank you for joining. So join us for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We got lots to talk about our trip, things we saw, things we did, some of our experiences. We want to go over all that with you tomorrow night about our 4th of July trip there. Yes, let's go O's. Wouldn't hurt if Soto and Judge cool off a bit. Actually, Soto and Judge have been cooled off a little bit, Brian, lately. They haven't been great lately. But anyway, join us tomorrow night for that. The real Bill, there he is. Hey, the O's will be just fine. I think so too, Bill. I agree. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. So join us for that tomorrow night. And, of course, again, Wednesday we'll have the Wednesday game of the week against the Cubs. Thursday and Friday we'll have our Hall of Fame profiles. Check those out as well. That's it, gang. Hope you all have a good night. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope it was informative and fun. I love talking to Orioles. But you guys have been great. We'll talk to you on Wednesday on this channel. Hopefully tomorrow on our Disney channel. And until then, Keep rooting for the O's. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.